let's talk about the sweet, sweet feeling of resistance. I know you've been through it, and I know you're going to go through it, and I have my fair share of it as well. And in this podcast episode, I want to give you a different view on resistance and how you can work with that. In the toxic positivity coaching industry, there's a lot of talk about just pushing through your resistance and just keep going. Think positive thoughts and you will manifest whatever your heart desires. And if you're not manifesting it, that means that you're not wanting it badly enough. Well, I have a slightly different opinion about that. You probably heard that already. Resistance is something that shows up because it is there to tell you something. And I know I speak from my own experience where I tried to push through things and things didn't work out. One of the things that I did when I started out my business is I was offering people one-off sessions. They were very impactful. I loved doing that. But at one point, I felt like things had to change. And I felt such a resistance to let go of these one-off sessions because people need it. People kept coming back to me for these sessions. And just the idea of changing that, oh my goodness, I had so much resistance. Because I thought, how are people going to pay me more money, get me for a longer period of time? But how does that translate? So there was a lot of inner things going on in my head and wondering, how can I pull this off? And at first, I completely pushed through that resistance. I started offering packages, and guess what? I didn't sell any of them. Why? Because I wasn't allowing myself to feel the resistance and to listen what was actually going on. I had a few very challenging aspects happening at that time. And the reason why resistance show up is often there's a hard aspect in your chart happening. There is maybe an opposition or a square that is demanding your attention. And you know, when you have like a demanding toddler, the more you ignore them, the louder they will scream and the louder they will push you. The same thing with your inner resistance. It is that little toddler in you saying, hello, come on, I want attention right now. You need to give me the attention that I need because I'm going to lose it. And it just takes a moment to acknowledge that you feel resistance. Every time when you go through these leaps, resistance will show up. It's not that if you follow your chart completely that there will be no resistance. I still have resistance. I'm in the middle of growing and expanding, and there is a lot of resistance doing this. And this shows up as simple as not replying a certain email or not doing the interviews with potential new VAs. Postponing everything. So there are two things that you can do in that moment. You can either think, oh my goodness, I'm so stupid for not doing that. Why didn't I just do it? Or you can ask yourself a question. What do I need to honor what I'm feeling? What does my inner toddler need right now? How can she feel at ease? So that we acknowledge that there is resistance, that we acknowledge like, hey, this is what is going on. And how can you move through that? And the beautiful thing with astrology is that your chart tells you where the resistance show up, in what area of your life, and how you can redirect the energy into an area of your life where you can find relief or where you can find healing, depending a little bit on what is happening. It's not a very complicated thing to do. It's actually very simple to see in a chart. And the beauty is that you find breakthroughs from within. The cosmos is not something outside of us, but it's the cosmos within us. Your chart is your inner cosmos that is responding with the cosmos outside of us. So there is this beautiful dance between your inner landscape and the universe. And if we engage in that dance, we can create this beautiful performance. But in order to do that, we need to get onto the dance floor. If we don't like the music, we can run away and don't look back. Or we can ask ourselves, how can I make this more enjoyable? Can I step onto the dance floor? Can I take those first few steps? Can I invite a partner who helps me with this dance? And maybe the music isn't what I would choose. But now that I'm on the dance floor with a partner, I can direct this dance in any way that I want. And it's exactly with your resistance. Where do you want your resistance to go? Do you want to push it down and ignore it? Or do you want to give it the freedom that it wants to explore, to see what is going on, and then work with that energy? Do you see how this is different? Do you feel how that perspective is very different because you are engaging with it? And that's why in the beginning I mentioned about this toxic positivity coaching industry. We cannot just wishful think our way out of everything. This is the reality that you're experiencing. Your body is signaling something. And sometimes that literally means back off, this is not the right timing, or back off, this is not right for you. And other times it is, hey, I see a fear. I feel that there is resistance because you're afraid. That's okay too. If you step onto that dance floor, start dancing, you will know in which direction you go. And maybe that means you go a little bit further away from the speaker because you still don't like the song. But engage with it. Pick it up. Feel it. Experiencing it. And because we don't need to have all of the answers right away. And sometimes an answer doesn't come as an actual sentence or a clear message. Sometimes getting an answer is your body responding to it. Your body relaxing when things feel true to you. Your body releasing the tension when you make the decision or when you decide to engage with it. It really is that simple. And yet it's a very difficult practice to keep doing. Keep asking yourself, what does my inner toddler want? Why do I feel this resistance? And if you don't get answers to that, you can ask a question, what do you need right now? In this moment, what is it that you need? Because I do not believe that pushing through resistance is going to bring you anything. And maybe in the short term, it actually works. You're pushing your resistance aside, you keep going, you just ignore it, and maybe you have some successes. But trust me, down the road, that will catch up with you. That little toddler will run behind you and tackle you and make sure that you cannot move anymore. They will sit on top of you, screaming and shouting because they deserve the attention. So think about that next time. Think about the toddler. Think about the dance floor when you are experiencing resistance. It's part of being human. It's part of being alive. And the more that we can embrace that part, the easier things will get for you. If you are experiencing your inner toddler running wild right now, and you would like some clarity on what is going on, then a one-day retreat is perfect for you. In a one-day retreat, we look at your chart, we see what is going on right now, and we also look at how we can highlight your mission even more. Because I know you already know exactly what you're meant to do here. But trust me, there are always aspects that you haven't looked at or angles that you haven't considered yet that will help you to amplify what you're doing and the people that you help. We also look at what is ahead of you. What do the next 12 months look like? Are there any moments where you should pay special attention to? Are there good times to launch? Are there good times to rest? All of that can be found in your chart. And it's such a beautiful experience to have that day for yourself, to dive deep into your chart, into what is happening for the next 12 months and create this beautiful strategy especially for you. And the reason why I call this a one-day retreat is because this is a day where you get to feel nurtured, taken care of, and getting to know yourself on an even deeper level. If you want some more information about that, you can check the link in the show notes, or you can send me a DM on Instagram. And when you enjoyed this episode, please take a screenshot and share it on Instagram and tag me. And you can always send me a DM to talk about this, how you're experiencing the resistance and how you move through that, because I always love to hear your experiences. And make sure you subscribe to the podcast so you get a notification every time a new episode is published. I wish you a beautiful rest of your day, and I will speak to you again very soon.